We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Brandon Pili, Miami Dolphins defensive tackle. I thought in his preseason week one, he was one of the more impressive UDFAs, undrafted guys out there. I think him, Keydron Smith, Chris Brooks, just a few guys who stood out to me. A couple other, I think, played decent too. And I just think with Pili, he has the best chance out of the undrafted guys to make the roster just due to the position group that he's in. I think interior defensive line is really strong at the top, but lacks some depth. So I think he really has a good chance. He was given that 100K guaranteed. I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, he has a good chance of making the roster. They really like his skill set. He's a big guy, and he moves really well, I think, for a guy at his size. He can play that nose, one-tech type of position, but moves better than you would think. At USC, he kind of struggled with his run defense, surprisingly. Like, you would think with his build, his play style, he'd be better versus the run. But he looked way better in his first action as a Dolphin. You could tell his technique was better. Getting off the ball, staying low, using his hands, gets very square. And then once he gets control on this outside zone, he's recognizing he's getting control of his gap. And then he uses that offhand to create that space. He gets control of the gap. He sees the running back, anticipates that he's going to cut back, comes off of it, stacks, shed. That is an absolutely... This is like about as beautiful as a rep as you'll see from a defensive tackle. Like, this is amazing. Obviously, he's going against not great offensive linemen, but it's still nice to see that improvement because even versus college linemen at time, he would get blown off the ball. So I think as the UDFAs, few guys have a chance to make the roster, but it's going to be very difficult at certain positions. And I think Pili really is showing why he's going to be that guy. And they clearly liked him pre-draft as well. So look out for him as the preseason and potentially season continues. Now, I wouldn't say this first game was perfect from Pili, but he definitely was getting active out there. There's times where he ends up on the ground too often, but here he does a pretty good job. This is like a really good Channing Tindall rep, but he does a good job at least fighting through. He gets cut off by the center, which you don't want to see based on his pre-snap positioning, but he still fights through it and helps get this tackle. Just good job by Agua setting the edge, but just on the interior, still fighting through contact. He needs to get off the ball a little bit quicker here, work a little better laterally, just read the flow of this play. But it is versus a double team, and this right guard does a good job, helping him out and then climbing to the second level, and it causes him just to get cut off right here. But he's in a terrible spot right here, but he still fights through, shows off that, aggressive and that competitiveness, and is able to get back into a better position, his hands on, to push this guy into some help here and then help make that tackle for only about a 3-yard gain. So even though it wasn't the best process of the rep, he still fought through it. And then clearly, this was the first snap of the game. The first play I showed was much later in the game, one of his last snaps actually. So he really showed improvement from the first snap to the last one. Love Pili's hustle to the outside. Like, for a guy of his size, he really can show some range and chase. Like right here, just getting to the outside, almost ends up playing this like a linebacker. He just moves really smooth. He's lined up as like a 2-eye, 2-tech right here, pretty much head up with a slight inside shade. And you think Agudi shoots to the inside, so 59. Either someone here, so Rose has to sort of scrape over the top. Someone definitely plays this wrong. No one ends up being the force defender, just how they play this. But him, he still stays square, gets control. He sees that he's going to get double teamed, which I really like about this rep. He sees he's going to get double teamed. When you're about to get double teamed, you want to attack one of the defenders straight up. It helps you take on the double team a little bit better, so he gets control. He ends up trying to get help on Agude, so he ends up getting one-on-one, and then he's just complete control of his area, his gap, his run fit. He uses that hand to keep himself clean, and then work laterally down the line of scrimmage, and he ends up, making a play out near, almost the sideline, which is an impressive, athletic rep from him. 3rd-2 situation, he's a 2-eye right here. You're going to be playing a lot of 2-eye, especially in the Fangio system. Take on this double team, work down the line of scrimmage, just hold them up at the point of attack. It helps, allow these linebackers to work free. A lot of times when you take on these double teams, if you're getting double teamed, even if you're not making a play on the ball, but you're not getting pushed back, allowing them to, push up, he ends up just taking both these guys out of the play. He stretches. This guy tries to pull around him, and he just completely takes on both of them. Miller kind of takes himself a little bit out of there by going against the offensive lineman, but Malik Reed is able to come in unblocked because he stonewalls these guys long enough for him to force this to cut back, and then it makes him almost run into him as well. Use those O-linemen to stop the momentum. Really impressive rep, I think, just controlling at the point of attack, playing with low pad level. Love that he has some play strength there to him, some leverage ability, understand exactly where he's supposed to be, and finish, hold them to, get a 4th down right there. These can be the negative reps with Pili versus the run. I want to see some more pass rush. He didn't get too many pass rush attempts where he truly got to rush. He just ends up on the ground a little too often. He can lose his balance at times. This is something you saw at USC. This was like the third snap of the game. Clearly just maybe a little bit of nerves going in there as well because these guys, playing for the roster spot. But look, that's how, like, we saw him handle double teams later on in this game, so he clearly made the adjustment, made the improvement. But this is how, you get beat. You got to learn, get control of your guy, but not leave yourself open like this because they're taught to attack the low hip, and that's where you're weakest. You're able to really move guys, and he just gets caught off there, takes himself out of the play. At least, kind of clogs up the run lane a little bit. He kind of pulls down the offensive lineman to the ground with him, which probably should have been a holding call on the defense, but those are things he did improve upon as the game went on. It's just something he needs to keep getting better at, not ending up on the ground so often. I really like him on the interior as that sort of one tech, get him involved versus these centers and guards where he has a little bit of this leverage advantage, especially when they're running outside zone away from him. He does a good job seeing this cut block, recognizing it, good processing ability, keep himself clean, use his hands to keep himself clean, not get cut in front of the ground this time, show that balance. He gets like a really wide base, show some bend there, get up, get lateral, and then get down the line of scrimmage. You can see how active he is to get there. Just really good work, just being involved in these plays throughout. He was one of the more active players in this game, and that's something you really just want to see in these preseason games, these guys who just fly around the field and just at least get involved, make these hits, make a name for himself. And as I was saying, I think Pili has a pretty good shot to make this roster. Last play that I'm going to break down, this is the one pass rush rep I'm going to show. He just didn't get too much work to do. Here, they're running a stunt on the inside. Nice to see him, twist around, at least time this up. Nothing too impressive, just beating a guy one-on-one, which I would like to see. But, at USC, I thought he was a better pass rusher than a run defender, honestly. Like, he likes to get active. He likes to get after the quarterback. He has a high motor. He times this up pretty well, lets him get engaged, and then get around it. Has that closing burst, and then it forces, that was a 30-19 situation. So it forces him to the quarterback to throw it underneath pretty quickly there. And he takes a pretty good angle to the quarterback. Impressive overall game, I think, from Pili. Really enjoyed most of his run reps. Definitely a few he would like to take back, but that's expected from from him. I would say definitely he needs to work on his technical ability overall. But I really liked what I saw. I saw the improvement out of USC. I liked him. I thought he was intriguing coming out of USC. There were some skill sets that I liked, but in this game definitely showed me a lot more than what I saw there. So maybe in the Fangio system he can be unlocked. Maybe, become a player down the line. Not really expecting him to play, but make this roster, be a depth guy. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, have a peace.